Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. You're listening to a new Living and Breathing Technology podcast. You're about to join Amina Agarwal as she captures and shares unedited stories of tech professionals as they reflect on the past, foresee the future, and discuss what they would like to change for a better tomorrow. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Welcome everyone to Living and Breathing Technology. I'm your host Amina Agarwal, and with me today I have a very special guest. She's Laura Bell. Listening to her story at one of the cybersecurity meetups really inspired me. So really warm welcome, Laura, and I'm glad that you are on this show. Thanks for
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me, Amina. It's really a wonderful chance to come and have a chat. I love having a chat. So hopefully we'll have a great conversation today.
And thanks for taking out time out of your busy schedule. So I wanted to check with you that how did you get into InfoSec? If you could give us a little bit of background where you come from and what led you to into cybersecurity industry. So
sure. I'd love to be able to say that I had this, really planned out career, and I was, 11-year-old Laura wanted to do it. It wasn't like that at all. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. I thought I was going to do multiple foreign languages, and I was going to go work in Europe and, save people from European law. And like most people's lives, my life has kind of had its own wobbles and turns. And when I was 16, almost 17, I found that I needed a job really quickly. And in my hometown, there weren't really many options. You could go work for McDonald's, which perfectly respectable, good management training scheme. Or there was this apprentice program in software development. And I'd used computers, but I'd not written any code. I was not an engineer of any sort at that point. And so I went and gave it a shot, and they made us solve puzzles and things at interview. And I ended up as an apprentice software developer. Now, from there, I studied in night school, and I ended up completing a degree and all those kind of things. And I graduated and became a Java developer. So, hey, listeners at home, don't judge me, but Java developers are cool too. Now, I liked engineering, but I actually found I was really good at finding bugs. And so my boss at the time, he's like, we really like you, Laura, but could you stop doing that, please? It's really annoying. And if you try the security team, they're over there, and they were literally in a basement. And he's like, well, you could go and work for them instead. They find bugs all the time. That's their jam. And so I very sidestepped really into being a penetration tester. And that was, too many years, too many years. Let's say it's post 15 years ago, and not feel too old, but it's been a while. And now I've kind of come out the other side, and I'm part engineer and part security person. And I live in this world where my mission is to try and make security something that all software development teams can do all on their own.
Yeah, that's a nice walkthrough of your journey, and I'm feeling really very curious as to how you were finding bugs and then getting into cybersecurity, into pen testing, and then just going through your journey into becoming an entrepreneur. So, talking about your job as day to day, do you like pen testing more or being an entrepreneur more?
I think, to be honest, and some of my mentors say that I'm fundamentally unemployable. I come from a long line, a family of tinkerers, of people who we don't like finding problems that we can't fix. And so we fix them. And I don't mean, we solve world peace, but, that bike that doesn't work or that thing that makes a strange noise, my family are the people who get stuck in and figure it out. And for me, that instinct, that kind of nature that's in my blood, comes through into wanting to solve problems that were inefficient. So as a pen tester, I would write the same report month after month after month for different customers every time, because I was seeing the same problems again and again and again. And it was basically a problem that wasn't being solved. And so I am really happy now that I'm using my kind of tinkering, problem-solving skill set as an entrepreneur to try and make sure that we're not repeating that same thing over and over again. So I enjoyed being a pen tester. It was a really great few years, but I think I'm where I'm supposed to be now.
Oh, that's exciting. And I am really fascinated about how was a risk consultant before then or a pen tester before then, and came up with this idea of fixing something that was not yet innovated in a way in cybersecurity, and you came up with this idea and had your own company. So did you face any challenges being a woman? Did you ever feel that I created this idea, I am into this space, but whether I will be welcomed or not in cybersecurity as a woman?
I think that's definitely a concern that a lot of female founders have, especially in an area like cybersecurity, where it is predominantly men running companies. And I think some of it is because I think I spent a lot of the early years of my career trying to be like other people. All of the role models, all the people out there, they were all guys, and they were all very different to me. I'm quite unconventional as a security person. My company is very empathetic. We're all about trying to understand not just how to fix problems, but how to do it in a way that doesn't cause any more harm, that respects all of the people involved. Now, I also, to put it very simply, I put my heart is squarely on my sleeve. I like to speak very honestly and authentically in everything I do. And so I'd spent a long, long time trying to squish that version of me and make it really small and quiet. And it wasn't actually until probably, I'd say 3 or 4 years ago, that I really started understanding that being a female founder isn't about being accepted and being like all of the other founders out there. It's about understanding the power you have because of who you are. And it's different every time. We're all strange and different creatures. But understanding and using that as what makes you strong. And so I didn't encounter any challenges, but I did waste a lot of time trying to figure out, would I belong, or would I fit in, or would people welcome me? And I think, to be honest, maybe I'm just getting older, but screw them. Make yourself welcome and use who you are as a superpower.
Oh, that's amazing. That's why I get so inspired by you each and every time I listen to you. And I hope all the women entrepreneurs who are looking or listening to this would be inspired too, that make your own way, be strong, and don't feel whether you will belong or not. You will carve your own path somehow. So don't worry about that.
Absolutely. And the one thing I will say with absolute authenticity is it's not going to be easy. Nothing that's worth doing is easy. But you're probably a lot stronger than you think you are. And one of the things that, makes some founders really exceptional is that ability to be learning all the time and to be resilient. So to have grit, that idea that you can fall over and go, all right, yep, okay, that wasn't ideal. What can I learn? And stand back up again. And I think many of us do this in our lives all the time. So you can use that as a strength when you're growing a company.
Yeah. No, that's a great tip here. And we should go by that, be strong, and just believe in yourself. I would say just believe in yourself and what you're doing. Trust yourself more. So coming back to your entrepreneurship or your idea. So I had always this question in my mind that how can one start with an idea and create it into a business? Like if there is someone who is just wishing to start a business and has an idea, what is the first thing or first few steps that they should take according to you?
Yeah, and it is only my opinion. So, there's lots of other people who speak very wisely about these kind of things. But I think probably one of the most important things that you have to do is remember that what you're proposing is a business and not just a great idea for a product. And for it to be a business, one of the most fundamental things you need is a customer. And so if instead of building, don't write a line of code, don't build a thing, go talk to your network, go talk to your friends, go talk to people you've never met before. Send an email to that random person you respect but have never spoken to and ask them, okay, hey, here's the problem I'm trying to do. This is what I do, but tell me about your world, and try and find where what you think is a problem meets their world, and how that could translate into something that has a value. And now, it's not a big, statement about everything has to have a lot of money and you have to generate a lot of revenue, but you put a lot of energy into building something, a company or a product. It's going to sap so much from you. And so you need to be really, really certain going into it that you understand that what you're building is a commercial thing. It's not you. You are not your product or your company. And if you start really early on by separating that out, by making sure that there's a customer and you're building something to a need that somebody has, then you're going to find it much, much easier to preserve that energy and sustain for a long period of time. Because you'll know that that direction isn't just about you. It's about a problem for someone else that you can see.
Yes, and by saying that, I also remember that with the idea, there's a perception always to create something which is unique, which is, which the customers don't know about. Do you think there should be only a business or a new idea which is unique in itself, or it can be something which can be replicated, which can be, different than the other, or an additional feature? So we always, talking about my personal self, I always thought, oh, these are new businesses coming, like, for example, Canva, for example. It's a unique idea, and it's not completely unique, but it's quite easy, user friendly to use, and lots of features. But having said that, do you think that idea should always be unique when you start a business, or can be general?
So my husband is an artist. Now, he doesn't make a lot of money off art, and very few artists do. But the one thing about living with someone who makes art for a living, or for fun, is you start to realize how nothing in the entire world is unique. Nothing at all. We, as a species, we have built our entire economy's entire way of life around taking something that already exists and trying to make it a bit different or a bit better. And so once you've kind of stepped back from the idea that what you're doing has to be unique, then so long as you're not breaking any laws or any patents, just go for it. Because if your vision of that thing, even if it is something that's been done before, appeals to a new group of people, or solves a problem in a way that is easier to use, or is easier to kind of use long term, or integrates better with the rest of your life, then it's still an improvement. So yeah, you don't stress too much about whether has it ever been done before. Has it ever been done the way you want to do it by you? And that will make it different all on its own.
Excellent. Wow. Excellent views on that. So I have a question in regards to Great Resignation, and I'm sure lots of employees won't be able to speak about it because of working in a company, but I'm asking this question to a CEO, to a director of our own company. So according to you, what are your views on employees leaving an organization because they have a better idea of creating solutions which can serve the people better?
Well, I think the last 2 years has been really important for most people. It's been hard, undeniably hard for so many groups of people. But for those who have come through it and out the other side, speaking for myself and most of the people around me, it's been a period of reflection, of kind of prioritizing, okay, well, I've had this period where I haven't been able to go out much. I haven't been able to spend a lot of money. I haven't been able to see my friends and family. And you started to understand what is really important to you. So if, you've been working from home, having more autonomy than you've ever had, working in your pajamas every day, and that has actually been your happiest, most productive you've ever been in your life, then for most people, the idea of going back to that less effective, less productive way of working, it won't appeal. And I think, there's a bit of a carpe diem sort of thing going on, where one of the things I've always said about running my company was I would rather look back in 10 years having tried something and go, oh, it didn't work out, but I gave it a good shot, than to look back in 10 years and go, I really wish I'd tried that. Because as long as you've got a roof over your head, food on the table, and you've got the people you care about around you, then actually the rest is all just window dressing. So I spend your life doing things that you're passionate about, that you enjoy, that, maybe make the change you want to be in the world, but don't waste it on somebody else's dream. If you're working for a job that just is sucking the soul out of you, and you've got an idea and you have the ability to go and try it, do it. And when I say ability to go try it, for those people who are like me, who I have 2 young children and an old person I care for, so there's no like running off and not having a salary for 2 years for me. That's not a thing. So many of us have constraints, and you can't just quit your job because you need to earn money to have a roof and food. So don't use that as a blocker. You can find ways to get this to work around a job until the point where it can support you. And yes, it's hard, but just think about the bravery of that and of how important it is that you're giving it a shot and trying. Because if you don't, then wonderful things never happen.
Absolutely. You are absolutely correct that one should just follow along the passion or whatever gives them happiness, and don't think about money or anything else much, because at the end of the day, you're here to live happily, to be happy. So give yourself a thought and don't worry about anything else. So just talking about taking care of someone who is senior to you, you always mention in your talks, and one of the talks that I heard, which was in person, you mentioned that you had one senior person in your team which had brought a diverse perspective to your team. And one of the other talks, you mentioned that the age matters and we all grow old, and the technology changes, which is very right. So according to you, how is it changing for you? Do you think you are getting too old and technology is much ahead from you?
Oh, Amina, you asked the hardest questions. I think even just a year ago, I'd have said no. It's all fine. But I think I've already started to find the lines of where technology and me will part ways. So I've made myself a promise I will never live a life inside Meta or a virtual reality world, just because, to be honest, I love the ocean too much. And, being outside and in nature and growing things and playing. And I think for me, if we get to that point, it won't be my generation's turn anymore. At that point, there is going to be another generation after me that have more energy and more enthusiasm, who see the world differently to me. I think for me, the important part is less about me doing technology forever, but finding any way I can to make technology accessible to people of other ages. So, a lot of the technology we build right now isn't built for people who are over 50 or who have different needs. Now, I wear hearing aids, so I'm becoming increasingly aware of, the technologies that don't work for people who have a hearing impairment. The same goes for visual impairment, or people who just have wrinkly fingers. That can't use the touch sensors on their phones very well anymore because the wrinkles show up as 2 fingerprints. For me, I think the next stage for me will be less about being at the bleeding edge of new technology and more making sure that the core technologies we all rely on are as accessible as possible for as long as possible.
Oh, yes, that's amazing that you are actually, are worried about what, like the present times and how things are changing, your body is changing, and how technology should also change and adapt to these things. So talking about technology, and you mentioned this, that we technology should be innovative as much as body is changing and our needs are changing. So with the senior citizens or the elderly people, how do you think that we can do better with technology? Are there some ideas or anything that you'd like to share?
I think for anyone who's listening who is in the engineering space, for me, my breakthrough moment was really sitting with somebody, not telling them what to do, but just seeing how they interact with things. And when you see it just in fractions here and there, you don't really understand quite how complex it can be to just operate for things we take it for granted. Like for myself, I use things like Google Pay and Apple Pay, and I use various chat platforms for different people. I'm talking to you today on a streaming platform from my laptop that's talking directly into my hearing aids over Bluetooth. So, there's a lot going on there that I just take for granted every single day. And you all do that in different ways too. So if you can sit with somebody in their world, in their tech world, and just kind of see, how that works for them, I think we all kind of get a bit stronger. Things we can definitely do better at. Our interfaces suck when you make them bigger. So one of the things you lose as you get old is your eyesight goes, whether it's dramatic loss or just a gradual loss. You'd start making things a lot bigger, and you start wearing your funky reading glasses, and you rock the older person thing. That's cool. But if we build all our interfaces to fit on a tiny, tiny phone screen and never get enlarged, then suddenly these become harder and harder and harder to use. Same goes with, our color schemes and our visual effects. A lot of this is down to user experience, but we put a lot of experience professionals onto taking away friction for people aged 20 to 35, but not about the people later on. Now, remember, when I say old folk, I'm not talking about like old folk who sit at home all day and don't do anything. Old folk are wicked active. Like, these are the people who are on dating apps. They are the people enjoying the life as much as they can. They are buying their Tesla and they are going to ride it. So we're talking about not, it's 5 people and they live in a nursing home. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of millions of people all around the planet who are living longer and want to enjoy that to their full. And that's a very exciting space, not a sedate kind of old person space at all, not how we sometimes think of it.
Yes, no, that's great. And I see that most of the people who enjoy the most are the senior folks. And I was having a chat with my neighbor who is in her late 60s, and she seems to enjoy a lot, like reading book and having a glass of wine over the weekend, and she just has her own sort of enjoying moment. And I think we perhaps with the younger families don't get that much of time than them.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a 3-year-old. There's no way that I'm going to get, an hour to read a book and, catch up with my friends online. So, I think that sometimes we spend so much time on this chunk that are our age group, when actually there's a lot of really interesting things going on either side of us. So I'm quite excited to see where technology goes for that, because, there's so many opportunities there to do amazing things.
Yes, absolutely. So talking about managing kids and managing your third baby, which is Safe Stack Academy. So what does a day look like for a busy lady like you? How do you manage and juggle all of these together?
So this is a bit where I'm going to dispel all of those things that you've read about in those, how to be a 10x entrepreneur things, because I don't buy into it at all. I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I probably get up at 7:30, but my 3-year-old doesn't believe in mornings. And so she will just appear and launch herself onto the bed. Get the girls ready for school. We have breakfast together every day, which I really enjoy. They head out between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, and I start my day. I actually, in my day, have blocked out times for wellness. I have a mid-morning one, an afternoon one, where I drink a cup of tea and have a bit of a meditate sometimes, but mostly I just drink tea and eat chocolate. And then I have my lunchtime one where I do exercise and have some lunch. I finish most days about 4:30. And I do some kind of things that I think they're probably a little bit nerdy and lame, but they work for me. So I have 2 mobile phones, for example. One has absolutely no work things on it at all. So on the public holiday weekends and evenings, and my team know they can ring me if it's urgent, but I'm not there on my Slack at 10 o'clock at night. That's not helping anyone. The thing that I learned the hard way, I learned by, falling over and very nearly not getting back up again, was that you have to look after yourself when you run a company. You're going to run really, really hard for every hour you're at work, but every hour you're not at work, you belong to your family or to your hobbies. And those are what's going to give you the energy and the reason to get up and do that hard thing every day. So for me, actually, I have a really quite cushy life. I have an amazing team who equally do lots of things with their families, and hopefully it will continue for a long time yet.
Oh, yes. I love it. We should take time out for ourselves and for family for sure. And talking about setting priorities for ourselves is quite important as well.
Yeah.
So for anyone out there, how do you prioritize the things? You keynote, you are a speaker, you do presentations, then you're running a business as well. Then you're looking after two young kids as well, and your husband and a senior member in your family. So there's a lot of things going on, and it's quite similar to what I do. I would like to gain that perspective, or for other listeners who are in this on the same boat. Like, how do you prioritize things? And I learned something new on your past podcast, which was released last week, that you love to write. So how do you do all of that? How do you prioritize?
So I have a few golden rules. Firstly, anything that takes me away from my family has to be a priority. So I have to be able to say, if I was to put these two things on a scale, that what I'm choosing to do instead of be with my family is more important at that time. So for business things that, is it going to help the company grow in a way that can't be done any other way? Does it have to be in that location at that time? So I kind of do all of that factoring in. And when I do choose to be away from my family, which isn't that often, but it does happen, they know that I'm there to focus, to get the job done, and only for the period of time I need to be there. So I'm not there to mess around, because I've made that call. And at that point, the business was more important for that second, and I have to get back to them. Now, the other thing that I do is, and I'm not so good at it, in all honesty, it's definitely something I have to work on as an active thing, is I've got things I know I do because they matter in the business. I've got things I have to do because I'm a mom and a wife. And I have things I have to do, well, I don't have to do them at all, but I want to do them because they make me happy. And so that's dumb things like painting my toenails once a week. And I do a silly puzzle, not Wordle, on my phone every day. And it kills about 15 minutes, but I enjoy doing it. I read the trashiest books you can possibly imagine in 10-minute chunks around things. But I know the value of those things to me. And without those things, without any balance at all, then, it's really easy to get burnt out. And so as cheesy as my, little routines are, they just help me be really there for the business and for my family, because each one has got its time and place.
Awesome. Do you have movie weekends with family and getaways with family? Or do you enjoy reading blogs still being with family? Do you do that?
Well, no, actually, if I look at this weekend just gone, on the Thursday night, about 7:00, we were like, don't want to be here this weekend. So we went camping for a weekend. Didn't take any devices with us at all. I went and bruised my leg quite a lot on the stand-up paddleboard. And we got back last night. So we try and get away, completely away, whenever we can. It's never anything too fancy. It's always just in a campground, or, we don't have a huge budget because, I'm the breadwinner for the family. So, but we just try and be together as a family and just there for each other. So if we're there, we're kind of focused on each other.
That's amazing. That's lovely to hear, that you still get some time for yourself and your family. It's amazing.
Yeah, admittedly, it's in 5-minute chunks around the place. The days of me having a whole weekend as a, laid back with a glass of wine and a box of chocolates and doing my own thing, they're long gone. But I really appreciate all of the moments that I create for myself. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One should do that. And if we don't do that, then I think the whole thing of earning livelihood and being happy is all lost in creating something for others, not for yourself as well. So now talking about livelihood, entrepreneurship, and lots of other things. What is the one achievement in the past few years that you're really proud of today? one achievement? I know you started business and everything, but what is one achievement that you...
So I'm going to caveat this and say I'm excluding from this list having children and stuff. Yeah, let's just park that. But they're wonderful. I love them. I think for me, it would be setting up the Safe Stack Apprentice program, which we finally kicked off in February this year. So that created 3 entry-level positions for junior software developers and security engineers. I'm based in Whangarei in Northland, New Zealand, so the very top of New Zealand. We have very high unemployment, and there aren't many tech options for careers. So it was really important for me to create a program that was creating roles, creating training and opportunities, and giving people who would normally have had to move away from their families to do that, something they could do locally. And we welcomed 2 women and 1 man to our first cohort, and they're doing such a great job. I'm so, so proud of them. And so, touch wood, that will continue for some time to come.
Amazing. No, that's awesome. I loved it. So how can one apply for that program? Is it publicly available, or is it just time-centric, like it's just open for some time and then you close it? How does it work?
So at the moment, it's our first year. So we've got 3 people for our first year. And I think much like academic programs, we'll probably look at doing an intake in February each year. But we're going to we're learning a lot in this first year about how to structure it. So I imagine that we'll kind of refresh that and update it as we learn. But I'd imagine it'll be February time. And that works quite well for the people who are, juggling other life commitments like kids in school and stuff. It means they can line up the term times with them kicking off this new chapter of their life.
So, no, that's exciting. I know that you have been doing it for quite a while now, like 6+ years, I guess, because I remember each and every word that I heard during that Women in Tech meetup that day. I'm not sure still why, but some inspiring stories are stuck with you forever when you hear them. And one of the stories that I heard was from Laura Bell at that time. So it's completely stuck with me, and that's why I remember all the words coming through. So you're doing amazing work, helping students getting into cybersecurity, doing your business as a unicorn, as a women leading in cybersecurity. So that's amazing. So Laura, I also wanted to check with you if you could show us some stickers that you have or merch that you have, and I'm also quite interested to get one because my sticker I had lost that I got that day. So how can we get that? How can someone get those stickers and merchandise?
Well, so the easiest way is to find us at events. So I don't actually have a physical T-shirt. They only came back from the printers on Friday last week, but they are going to be amazing. So watch the social media. There will be some pictures very, very soon. And there's 2 designs. One that's a bit space themed and one that's a big, amazing machine. But I'll leave the rest for you to find on the social media. But do come and track us down. The other thing you can do is, come and drop us an email. We are looking to talk with development teams and young companies all around the world. So you don't have to be based in New Zealand. You can be wherever you are in the world. I would love to understand how software engineering works all over the place. So in return for your time on a call, I can always swap a sticker, or we even have some limited edition enamel pins coming. So, there's some very exclusive merch here. So just drop me a line on social media or laura@safestack.io and we can hook you up.
Thank you so much, Laura, for sharing such a lovely insight into your world, into your life, as well as into entrepreneurship. Whosoever is entering into the field in cybersecurity or being an entrepreneur, just believe in yourself, as Laura says, like I believed by hearing her story. I hope everyone does that. And thank you so much, Laura, for joining in and being the guest on my show.
Thank you so much for having me, Amina. And, to all of the people out there who are listening, starting a new thing, building a thing, whether it's, a community group you start or a company you build or a product that you decide to develop yourself, is really hard and it can feel really, really lonely. So the one thing I would say is reach out and find community. Reach out to people like me, because when I first started out, a lot of people gave their time to kind of give me a virtual hug and, help me feel confident. And so a lot of us now do the same for others. So please don't be a stranger. Please reach out. I'd love to meet you all.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Living and Breathing Technology Podcast with Amina Agarwal. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.